Welcome to HITC Sport. Alright, so the transfer window is done. Are you happy? Probably not. Because what I'm going to do today is take a look and rank every Premier League club from worst to best in terms of how good they actually managed this window. And you know what? I'm going to give you a grade as well. I know, it makes me sound like a depressed primary school teacher grading papers whilst drinking wine out of a shoe. Yeah, I guess I'm football's answer to Ed Necrobobble. But anyway, right, let's give it a go then. Right, let's go. 20th Arsenal F. Awful. Nothing happened. Arsenal spent the first 2 weeks of the transfer window desperately chasing Dusan Vlahovic, only for him to turn his nose up at the offer as if you were asking him to eat infected sausage rolls out of a bin in Malawi. He's instead chosen to sign for the great Juventus. You know, the struggling Italian giants labouring 5th in Serie A, and that's it really. Apparently you tried and failed to sign Alexander Isak from Real Sociedad. You've been forced to dump the supposed talisman and captain of your club to Barcelona on a free, but here's the worst part.
Bruno Guimaraes mocks Arsenal over transfer pursuit after City Newcastle deal.
Yeah, you lost out on the £30 million midfield transfer target at Lyon to a team stuffed 18th in the league with Chris Wood up front. This Brazilian superstar would rather play in the midfield with Sean Longstaff and John Joe Shelby than Martin Odegaard. And you've chosen to reject actual money for Eddie Nketiah, which again is just like throwing cash down a toilet bowl. You've weakened your squad depth by chucking Ainsley Maitland-Niles out on loan to Roma and permanently dumping Callum Chambers to Aston Villa for just £2 million. You've only got 2 strikers now, neither of which want to sign a new deal. If Arsenal miss out on the Champions League, it'll be because of this nothing window. By the way, lads, if you're new here and not yet subscribed, then what are you waiting for? Slap the big fat red button in the teeth if you want to see more videos like this. Really keen to grow the channel in 2022. If you want to stick around, slap that button, you absolute legends. Anyway, back into the video. 19th Man United F. Disaster. Every day of the transfer window, Manchester United were linked with a shiny new central midfielder. Whether it was Denis Zakaria, Ruben Neves, Yves Bissouma, Boubacar Kamara, whoever. And yeah, Ralph Rangnick is just happy to persist with McFred, a midfield duo about as inspiring as a McMuffin. I mean, this is like deciding not to buy your kids a new pet, instead just choosing to keep that rotting Labrador corpse stuffed on the couch. I mean, that's how your living room very quickly smells like a dead vet's armpit. But this window where you've also weakened your attacking options. I mean, are we forgetting under Ralph Rangnick, the team have mostly showed the cutting edge of a plastic fork? Just 14 goals scored in 10 games. And so you've dumped Amad Diallo on loan to Rangers, but crucially, you've ditched Anthony Martial on loan to Sevilla. Can anyone out there think why Anthony Martial might have come in handy in the second half of this season? Anyone? Okay then, here's a clue. Yeah, you've guessed it, it's because right now Manchester United's attacking options are about as threatening as a rotting porch plank. What? I mean, Martial is going to rip up La Liga. He'll score 10 goals for Sevilla by mid-May, so losing him, it's a mistake. 18th Norwich F. Awful. Again, this is the transfer window which could have saved Norwich City. Instead, you've signed nobody and got rid of Todd Cantwell, loaning out arguably your most creative footballer to Bournemouth in the Championship, which again just stinks about her stupidity. I don't care if Cantwell does have the attitude of Cher Lloyd. I don't care if he has to be found guilty of taking a dump in Dean Smith's lunchbox. The Cantwell of the 1920 season was being linked with a move to Anfield. Yes, he might look like the blonde Harry Styles, and yes, his dance celebration might make you feel violently ill. I mean, clearly, this guy in his own head thinks he's got the likability of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but in reality, it seems both Daniel Farke and Smith would have loved nothing more than to stuff his face in a washing machine. But still, when coached correctly, he is a good player. And so losing both him and Billy Gilmore mid-season and failing to sign a striker, relegation confirmed. 17th Tottenham E. Disaster. Absolute disaster. Firstly, you had your main transfer target Luis Diaz snatched out of your hands by Liverpool. You saw Adama Traore snub you to return to Barcelona. You were unable to get Frank Kessie out of AC Milan. Oh yeah, and you failed to agree personal terms with some non-league Ollie Tanner. I mean, you've just picked up Juventus duo Rodrigo Bentancur and Dejan Kulusevski on deadline day. I'm not exactly blown away by that, are you? I mean, it just seems pretty limp. And you've officially just given up on your superstars. You've tossed out golden boy Dele to Everton. Tanguy Ndombele's been loaned to Lyon. Giovanni Lo Celso's been loaned to Villarreal. Oh yeah, and Brian Gill's been loaned to Valencia. We'll never see any of them in a Tottenham shirt again, and they all cost over £100 million. This has not been a good transfer window, no. 16th, Watford D-. Poor, very poor. This is the window where Watford needed serious reinforcements. They made 6 signings. Are any of them going to have any sort of impact? In comes Ivorian left back Hassan Kamara from Nice, and also some Brazilian centre back Samir from Udinese, Nigerian winger Samuel Kulu from Bordeaux. I mean, these aren't the signings that are going to keep you up. Just pretty poor. 15th, Wolves D-. Again, it's just a bit underwhelming this. On one hand, Wolves have managed to keep Connor Cody out of the hands of Newcastle, although to be fair, he's club captain for a team pushing for Europe. Again, pretty sure Cody would rather have burned off his tongue with an iron than agree to hold the hand of Jamal Lascelles for the next 6 months. But after your Old Trafford win, Ruben Neves was heavily linked with a mid-season switch to Manchester United, so well done for keeping him on board. Had he left Molineux this week, I'm pretty sure the Wolves fans would have felt like eating a pine cone for tea, but choosing to loan out Adama Traore to Barcelona, just as he was starting to remember how to stick the ball in the back of the net, and replacing him with Chiquinho, another raw, young Portuguese winger from Estoril. I mean, don't you have enough of those? But your squad looks weaker now, so D-. 14th, Everton D-. This was a pivotal transfer window for Everton. Like it or not, they are stuffed in a relegation battle. All of a sudden, Farhad Mashiri is that rich stepdad who lives in a mansion and drives a Ferrari to work and yet gives you a bag of hair and a fiver for your birthday. So when the fans saw the club begin the window by chucking in a bid for Sean Longstaff, you know, the modern day Geordie Tom Cleverly, someone with all the movement of a blind donkey, football's answer to a walking paper bag, oh dear. You sold Luka Dino for a measly £27 million, and you've chosen to replace him with Ukraine's Vitaly Mykolenko from Dynamo Kiev. And I can already tell, he already looks like a future nightclub bouncer who probably eats puppies in the shed. Yes, he looks like a tough guy, a mini Khabib, who most likely drinks blood in the shower. But he's just a fat, massive downgrade on Dina. Nathan Patterson is a 20-year-old, £12 million investment from Rangers and clearly a successor to Seamus Coleman at right back. But again, he's only played less than 30 professional games in his life, so expecting him to save the day this season, it's like asking a newborn child to put out a house fire on the west side of town. Oh, and you've also tied up a loan deal for Aston Villa's Anwar El Ghazi. Yes, he can take a nice penalty, but honestly, he's gonna have the impact of a dead houseplant. But what keeps them out of the relegation zone? The only saving grace are the last minute signings of Dele and Donny. Dele and Donny, Christ above. Sounds like some bad 80s sitcom with a muffled laugh track. This whole thing is like cramming for an exam on the final night before the test. I'm guessing right now poor old Frank Lampard's got bloodshot eyes and a headache after transfer deadline day. But listen, these are gambles. With Van de Beek, we will find out very quickly if he's actually just some overrated gingerbread man with the work rate of Danny DeVito in the gym. And we will soon see. And Dele Alli in a permanent deal. Again, it's a risk because something about this version of Dele Alli with dreadlocks just screams future Dubai influencer within 6 months. Not, you know, relegation battling grafter. Maybe Frank Lampard can work Mason Mount-esque miracles with him, but it was Stevie G who is Ali's hero, not Fat Frank, as he probably used to call him. So, I think this will be a flop. I mean, look how many hangers on this guy has. Clearly, he needs the population of an entire comic book shop to help him write his name on a contract. I mean, come on! Just reminds me of this. I don't know, I'll give you a D-. 13th, West Ham D. This was supposed to be the transfer window that would bolster West Ham's push for Europe. And to be fair, David Moyes has tried, it's just clearly not hard enough. The whole window has been one missed opportunity. Bit of a disaster, but at least you managed to keep hold of both Declan Rice and Jared Bowen, so that's why I'll give you a D instead of an E, but still, not great. 12th, Leicester D. Nothing happened. Literally nothing. This whole window was about as exciting as any film starring Colin Firth. Just boring. D. 11th, Southampton D. Again, nothing happened. All you've done is just sign a 40-year-old Willy Caballero. Just a bit meh. D. 10th, Chelsea C-. Chelsea haven't done anything. Honestly, you might as well still be handcuffed to that transfer ban. Yes, you managed to sidestep that disastrous Ousmane Dembele banana skin, and you finally released Lewis Baker from the dungeon. At 26, he's finally quit the club for Stoke. Lads, he's been on your books since 2005 and played twice. To him, Stamford Bridge is surely seen as some sort of prison. You've kept Antonio Rudiger, which is a good thing, I guess. But is it really a good thing when in the summer he's going to leave for less than the price of a Diet Pepsi? But considering there was so much chaos at the start of the window about irrationally dumping Romelu Lukaku to Tottenham or whatever nonsense was floating about, then I'm glad you didn't overreact like a pregnant housewife and instead diffused the situation. But yeah, boring transfer window. 9th, Brighton C-. Okay, so Brighton managed to get through this window without selling Yves Bissouma, so that is a massive win, I suppose. But other than that, you brought in a bunch of nobody signings who won't get any minutes. I mean, I guess you tied up a £10 million deal for Polish midfielder Kasper Kozlowski, who just happens to be the youngest player to ever feature at the European Championships, breaking Jude Bellingham's record within a week. So I guess that's slightly exciting, but you just choose to loan him to your feeder club out in Belgium. You've dumped the likes of Jurgen Locadia and Aaron Connolly, but you've also lost a pretty important defender in Dan Burn to Newcastle. So all in all, you haven't signed that prolific striker, and actually, you weaken your squad. So well done for keeping Basuma, but still, C-. 8 Man City C. Okay, so the only thing Man City have done this window is sign River Plate youngster Julian Alvarez in a £20 million deal. I maintain, once he arrives in Manchester this summer, he's going to look like someone who's just been given tickets to a Coldplay concert. You know, trying hard to stifle his vomit. Honestly, he's going to be a miserable, homesick child. Living in some Manchester flat, being forced to eat fish and chips and a full English fry-up. Honestly, coming from South America, being told to eat lumps of pig's blood for breakfast, that's almost enough to make him throw his contract out the plane window. So yeah, trust me, Alvarez will be a massive flop in English football, but it's not really a disaster because City didn't need to sign anyone. Yes, you let Ferran Torres leave for Barcelona for 50 million quid, and you finally dumped Patrick Roberts, so all in all, you've made about £30 million this window. So it's not too bad, I suppose. 7th, Crystal Palace B. Okay, I realise Crystal Palace haven't really done anything this window other than permanently sign Jean-Philippe Mateta from Mainz. But that's not a bad thing, because can I remind you, this was the headline greeting you on January the 1st.
PSG target Chelsea wonderkid Conor Gallagher in stock £50 million transfer after stunning season at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I know. I realise this story looked like it had been scripted on the back of a KFC napkin, but still, some pessimistic Palace fan would have looked at that as if it was a tarantula in the corner of their bedroom. You know, just keeping an eye on it. Also, let's not forget, any transfer window where Palace are able to cling onto Wilfried Zaha is a success. Yes, I know he's been distracted this month in Cameroon, but still, I'm surprised his brother isn't sitting at home with his knob and a bowl of cornflakes whilst tweeting to the world how unhappy his sibling is to play in such a pudding team, right? You've kept Gallagher, you've kept Zaha, oh yeah, and fended off Christian Benteke interest from Burnley. No, you failed to get Eddie Nketiah, but so? Am I the you can see he's clearly the next Ryan Brewster? Yes, it was disappointing not to get Donny van de Beek on loan, but I would still call this window mostly a success. 6th, Liverpool B. Okay, considering the Liverpool owners have lately spent more on haircuts than football players, then go back a month and tell any Anfield season ticket holder that they would be snapping up Luis Diaz in a £45 million deal from Porto. Also that they would keep their best players, chuck Nathaniel Phillips to Bournemouth on loan, and Nico Williams on loan to Fulham, and it's a bit of a success, right? Yes, he tried and failed to sign Fulham wonder kid Fabio Carvalho, but I mean, relax. Please stop trying to steal children from Craven Cottage. It's not a good look. I mean, after the links to Ryan Sessegnon, bringing in Harvey Elliott, and now stiffing on Carvalho, I mean, Jurgen Klopp will probably now be seen as West London's answer to Pennywise the goddamn clown. Lock up your kids, everyone. Jurgen's coming. 5th, Leeds B. Okay, admit it, Leeds fans, you are relieved. Go back to Christmas Day and you were practically writing your eulogies and packing your bags for the championship because apparently Bayern Munich were about to sign Rafinha. And yeah, that would have felt like getting a fork shoved in your lung. But he didn't leave. And you also batted away a tempting £50 million deal for both he and Calvin Phillips from West Ham. Listen, don't underestimate the strength it took the Leeds board to say no to that paycheck. It's like an alcoholic turning down a new drink. Honestly, you feel like Smeagol saying no to the goddamn ring. Because honestly, after years of this club being a financially crippled mess, now here was a massive offer on the table. It was the most amount of money Leeds United have ever been offered at one time since Rio Ferdinand left in 2002. The biggest offer you received since then was £14 million from Burnley for Chris Wood. So turning down 50 mil all at once? Impressive. 4th, Burnley B+. Burnley! Wow! That's all I can say to this. I can't believe at the last minute you've managed to claw your way from what would have been bottom of this table to 4th. And all it took was one transfer. I mean, when you saw your talisman Chris Wood snapped away by the club 19th in the league for just £25 million, that was an utter disaster. And the timing of it, horrendous. I mean, it's like your dad walking out on your family midway through your birthday party. Imagine that! And considering you spent the next 2 weeks to figure out Andy Carroll and an elderly Jermaine Defoe, I was convinced for Burnley this would be an utter rancid meatloaf of a window. And yet somehow, you've managed to upgrade whilst making a profit. £12 million of that Wood money has gone on Wout Weghorst, a 29-year-old Dutch centre forward who scored a Euro 2020, battered in 70 goals in 3.5 seasons in the Bundesliga. How is he at Burnley? Yes, I know you've missed out on Miroslav Orsic, and Aaron Ramsey turned you down to go and live in Glasgow. But Weghorst, forget the fact that he looks like Stephen Merchant on steroids. This is a goal machine. Aussie, B+, he is better than Wood, and he cost half the price. Oh yeah, and everyone seems to forget, apparently he was done and dusted. A surefire inevitability that prize centre-back James Tarkowski would be ripped out of the club this month. No, that didn't happen. Which leads me to think, who actually started those rumours? Some drunken cat lady on the bus? 3rd, Brentford A. Christian Eriksen. actual Christian Eriksen. And he plays for Brentford? You know, the guy linked with Real Madrid 3 years ago? The beauty is, he's not even a washed up 35-year-old. He's still in his 20s. He's arguably still Denmark's best player. Oh yeah, and last season, he won Serie A. Hey! It's actually not bad. I'm gonna do this more often. Toilet cake. Tastes really underrated. Second, Aston Villa A, the power of Stevie G. This is the first transfer window I've seen Aston Villa moving like an ambitious big club in years. A £27 million left back upgrade, swapping out Matt Target for Luca Digne, drafting Philip Coutinho in on loan, buffing up the squad depth with a freebie Callum Chambers and another goalie in Robin Olsen, all the while dumping the chunky misfits like El Ghazi and Wesley. Not bad. Yes, he'd be knocked back in bids for Aaron Hickey at Bologna and Rodrigo Bentancur at Juventus and Yves Bissouma at Brighton. So no, it hasn't been perfect, but still, very good window. First, Newcastle A+. Newcastle's first transfer window under the new ownership. Massively frustrating, yes. Bids rejected for centre backs like Diego Carlos of Sevilla, Benoit Badiashile at Monaco, and Sven Botman at Lille. And the fact that their quest for a centre half ended with a £13 million Geordie boy Dan Burn from Brighton, it's not ideal, but it is a centre back. And crucially, one who loves the club. Oh yeah, and young French striker Hugo Etiquette said no too, but who cares? His loss? Enjoy that relegation battle with Reims in League 1. I mean, clearly he's never seen the goal DVD. I mean, what else? Signing a Champions League regular like Kieran Trippier from Atletico Madrid. Considering last season he looked odds on to sign for Man United, this was beyond anybody's dreams. Newcastle were rejected by Luca Digne, yes, but instead of just crying into their shreddies, the club dusted themselves down, analysed the situation, and took advantage of it, and signing the guy whose place Digne has taken at Villa Park. Yeah, in comes Matt Target on loan. Bringing in a £25 million Chris Wood from Burnley. It looked like ingenious, clever business, but it's a signing of £33 million. Brazilian midfielder Bruno Guimaraes from Lyon. This is the club's Robinho signing. Honestly, you've completely remodeled your team. This is perfect business. Anyway, that's what it is. What do you think? Alright, let me know. Who's the biggest winners in the transfer market? Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.